this lineup just truthfully is going to be a team to reckon with.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Blue Jays and about the MLB, apparently now. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, and today we're going to talk to you not about the Blue Jays, but about what is turning into be a bit of a problem, I think, for not only us, but the rest of the MLB, and that is the Chicago White Sox out there making moves, taking shots. They are like a Wild West shooter, you know? They're extremely quick on the draw, and they've already reeled in two decently big guys, I would say.
They were quiet, though. They weren't like us being like, anyone? Hello?
Yeah.
We're interested in anyone. Where they're just like, Lynn, Patron, Adam Eaton, bam. So
exactly. You know, a lot more controlled than we were. But they did make some moves, and we're going to talk about that today. But before we get into that, guys, please make sure to check out the whole channel, like, subscribe, comment, caption, do the whole thing. And Patreon, once again, shout out and thank you to all of our lovely Patreon members. No new ones today, but you could be the newest one if you're listening.
$3 a month, and you help support our community and keep us going.
Exactly.
All right, so the
White Sox, they went out and in the span of 12 hours or so, have now acquired two pieces, which I'm not necessarily upset about because they were kind of in the conversation for some bigger guys like a Bauer, like a Springer, like all those guys. I think their name was even getting tossed around in trading for Lindor. But anyways, they haven't gone about those ways, and they've acquired Lance Lynn through a trade, and they also signed Adam Eaton.
Yes, and let's break that trade down a little bit. We actually, just before we started rolling this, got word of what they actually gave up for Lance Lynn, and it's a good deal. Like, yes, they gave up their number 5th prospect in Dan Dunning. He's a right-handed pitcher. And then they also gave up their 6th round in 2019, Avery Weems, who's a left-handed pitcher, who we don't even know what he could even be. No one knows. However, I think that's a straight-up good deal for just a guy who's got 1 year left on his contract, who had a really good ERA of 3.32 last year.
Oh, yeah, he was solid.
And he's decently cheap, $9.3 million.
Very cheap, you know? When you're considering the level of production that you're getting out of him. And this isn't the first year that, he's been good. He has a career ERA of 3.57.
God,
I think that's pretty bloody solid.
Yeah.
And, back in 2019, this guy pitched for over 208 innings, so 208.1 innings, and had 246 strikeouts, carrying an ERA of 3.67. That's Lance Lynn. That's in 2019. So he is an inning eater. Like, this is a guy that you can rely on every rotation, basically. And gets the Ks, is not gonna get blown up, and it gets paid decently cheap at 9.3 a year. And that's a solid guy.
It's very solid, and he joins a rotation that's already looking good and dominant. He joins Lucas Giolito, Dallas Keuchel, who sneakily got a 1.99 ERA last year, and they still have him for 3 more years.
Do you know, did Keuchel, did he start the whole year, or was he hurt at a time?
I'm not sure, but he may have been hurt. That actually I'm not sure of, but he did pitch a decent amount. And then they also have this younger guy. I think he's going into his 3rd year now, Dylan Cease.
I like Dylan Cease,
Me
actually.
too.
I
Me
do
too.
like Dylan Cease.
And you know what's great is that he's their 4th pitcher now, and their 5th pitcher is Michael Kopech, who's another young prospect that they have, and they're both on Dylan Cease and Kopech on similar contracts.
Right.
Where they have 1 more year left, and they have 1 more under team control, and then 3 arbitration years. So they've basically set themselves up where this is the year to win, because they also got Adam Eaton on a 1 year, they got Lynn on a 1 year, and Giolito, he's actually on 1 more year too. So someone will have to go, probably Lynn, I would assume.
Yeah. You know what? And I don't want to, I know how you're saying, this is their year to win. I really think it is. But I also don't think, I think that this team is going to be good, and I think it's going to be around for a while. And that's why I think that getting Lance Lynn, we haven't even touched on Adam Eaton yet, but getting Lance Lynn is such a great pickup for these guys because he is 34 years old right now.
Yeah.
So, you're not thinking we're going to build our team around this guy, but clearly he's still extremely capable and great overall, an excellent addition. He was in talks with us for a while when we were considering, is this going to be a guy that we want to trade for when we were making that postseason push. we didn't inevitably do that. They took the shot, and I think that this is going to work out really great for them with their lineup right now. I am truly jealous of how they have structured their team, where they have an excellent mixture of youth mixed in with veteran presence, mixed in with MVP.
You know what it reminds me of? The Atlanta Braves, but with a way better pitching staff.
Maybe, yeah, kind of. You know, I agree. And I really think that this team, you know, because you're right, if I wasn't aware that Giolito was on one more year.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
It's like they're gonna make a push to get that guy back. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. He is their future of the rotation. But this was great for them because now they have him a very capable number 2. And they've really erupted themselves into a solid contender who I'm worried about.
Before this podcast, we projected like the top teams on who would they be, like who would be like their set goal is to go to the World Series, and it's obviously the New York Yankees, the Dodgers, the Rays, and then it was Braves, and then the fifth one was the White Sox, and now they've even solidified it even more. They're for sure that's the goal and nothing less.
Well, and I think the only reason that, you know, like the White Sox for me, I had them like, I don't remember, like power rankings like 5, 6, around there. I'd probably move them up now because the only thing that was holding me back a little bit was I was like, they don't have an extremely capable number 2 yet in my mind, and they just got him. And
a proven number 2.
A proven number 2 who can pitch over 200 innings in a season.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that their lineup is really maybe one of the scariest in baseball right now.
Yeah.
If not like top 3 in my mind.
Let's take a look at their lineup too now with the addition of Adam Eaton. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I know like there was some websites that had a projected lineup, but it was so wrong. Like they had Abreu in the 5th spot. So I did a little bit of reworking to make it make sense.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It was just stupid. They had another guy in the other spot. Well, this is what I have.
Maybe if Montoya was running the team.
Maybe if Montoya.
In fact, he'd probably take the reigning MVP and put him in like the 7th
spot to lengthen the lineup, of course. It's like, no, your lineup is disgusting. Because number 1, of course, you have leading off is Tim Anderson, who's always been fighting for a batting title the last 2 years.
Excellent leadoff hitter right now. Top 3 in the game, potentially. You know?
Absolutely. And then I put Adam Eaton in number 2 spot because that's where he's been his whole career. Great number 2 hitter. And then you got Jose Abreu in number 3. Yeah, Yasmani Grandal number 4. Eloy Jimenez number 5. And then this guy came out of nowhere for me. And I didn't even realize they had this man, but it's Nick. I'm going to butcher his last name.
Butcher it, bro.
Madrigal.
Oh,
Nick
yes,
Madrigal.
Yes.
He had only 103 at bats. However, he hit 340. So
not
pretty
bad.
good for a guy to just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I put him number 6. Then you got Luis Robert, number 7. Yohan Moncada, number 8, who 2 years ago was their 2 hitter and had a great year that year. Down year last year. And then last but not least, in the 9th spot is another young guy, Lurie Garcia, hitting 271.
Yep, we like him too. And realistically, bro, like you got Jimenez and you got Robert there, and we saw some glimpses of just how incredibly elite Louis Robert can be. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of comparisons, you know, even in my thinking, you know, like this guy is, you know, kind of similar to Bo Bichette in play style and approach and whatnot. And the fact that they have that guy and you're projecting him in the 7th spot.
Yeah. Because he didn't have a good, he was like 233, I believe, somewhere around that average.
It's like when that guy pops off and when Jimenez pops off, as they are very much expected to do, this lineup just truthfully is going to be a team to reckon with.
Yeah. It looks very scary to like a Houston Astros where it's like I literally cannot find, honestly, even better. It could even be better.
If those young guys do what they're expected to do, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Because there's really not a single hole there.
No.
And when you're considering it's anchored down by an exact veteran coming off of an MVP season, and you have that guy, you know what he is. It's just so good. Yeah. I'm also a little jealous that these guys, I didn't even realize that Adam Eaton, I'm a horrible podcaster, I guess. I didn't even realize that Adam Eaton was like available.
Yeah. Honestly, me either. Because he's always flown under the radar.
He's flown way under the radar.
And like whenever we see like top 30, like, you know, free agents of this class. Like, all the outfielders are going to be the Brantley, the Ozunas, and the George Springers. So it's like we're not seeing Adam Eaton.
But as a guy to take a dart on, because he had a bit of a down year last year. But when you're considering in 2019, he hit 279, had an on-base percentage of 365, a poor slugging of 428. But his main goal is to score runs, and he had over 100 of those.
Yeah,
it's like taking a $7 million a 1-year deal, like on a guy that I think a lot of people kind of forgot about. I'm a little jealous. I'm like, that is exactly the sort of dart throw type of 1-year deal that I think we need to be making more of. Cheap for a guy who very easily could be a great top of the order guy. You know what? Great management over there. Great management.
It's great there. Because like the difference between us and the White Sox is like we're all super young, and like you mentioned before, there's a great mix of veteran and young, and that's exactly what they did. They went out and get some veteran guys in Lynn and Eaton. So.
And even like Dallas Keuchel, he's been around.
Dallas
the block.
Keuchel's a veteran. 15-0 season with the Houston Astros.
Exactly,
a few years
bro.
ago.
It's like he's been around the block.
It's really good.
They have an excellent. They just really do have an excellent mix, and I can speak personally. Like I am very worried about this team. I think that it's interesting because I'm kind of watching as like I'm seeing how our window is slowly starting to open. And I'm noticing the other teams whose windows are opening, like these guys.
Who would you say they are? So the White Sox.
I'd say the White Sox. I'd say the Padres. I'd say the Braves. All of us
wide open
are
now,
exactly like we're kind of like the Braves are a little bit earlier than us and whatnot. But I think that during our time as being a serious contender, if that should be happening in the next couple of years, as we predicted. These are going to be some of the other teams who are also being talked about like us,
Yeah, like I picture him. I remember in 2015, I always talk about 2015 because it was a magical time. And then, in the AL Central, it was the Kansas City Royals. And they remind me a lot of the White Sox. And then in the West, it was the Texas Rangers. Obviously, those guys are gone, and we quickly whipped our team back around, and now we're slowly opening again.
Yeah.
And so now it's going to be the White Sox, and who would it be in the West? I mean, Houston's kind of closing. Oakland's still there.
I think Houston is closing a little bit.
Angels is trying to open up. They made a trade for Iglesias.
I don't trust the Angels.
The West is going to be a bit. I think it's going to be a couple more years so we see who's going to be the lead out guy. I think it's still going to be obviously Houston and Oakland right now, but I don't really know who else other than that. It's going to be. They're all in the AL East. The Rays, us, and Yankees, of course. That's where all the teams are.
Yeah, and I want to say desperately that the Yankees window will close, but it probably will never. It's
being wedged open by golden bars for years. It's never gonna close.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. But yeah, you know what? Great moves by Chicago White Sox. I am really jealous of their management and of their team makeup right now. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Were these the right moves? Are you a little jealous that now Lance Lynn is kind of off the market? I truthfully forgot about him a little bit, but I wish that I hadn't because this is the sort of deal like a 2 prospects for a 1 year of a nice looking guy to bridge us over and then maybe wait until a couple more free agents open to make the big deal. I would have loved that. Clearly, it didn't happen.
However, we're shooting for the stars and we're making big splashes. So apparently that's where we're going.
We were shooting a lot of shots. Yes, but let us know in the comments down below, guys.
Yes, and make sure to follow us on our Spotify, Breaker, and Radio Public, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and our Instagram and Twitter. And as well, to make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification button so you can get updated when our podcasts are premiering. They're usually around noon, like every so often, like 3 to 4 times a week. And Patreon. Patreon, send us that money, $3 a month, please, if you want to be part of the community and get your question on our podcast.
Thanks so much for watching.
And go Jays, go.